All right, you guys, we back. Sports Hungry Podcast Battleground. Joshua Darns, Perno Bills. We back in it. Uh, we've been away for a brief second, but life has hit. We've had a lot of life things going on. But first thing first, congratulate Josh, my boy, about to be managing the friendless skies.
Sheesh.
Oh
Got a
man,
long way, but yeah.
hey, step one is better than what day one.
Hey, look, step one is better than no step.
Yay, what? Let's see. All right, let's go and get rocking. We're talking about the NFL today, preseason playoff
This
conversation.
honestly probably be a whole show. I ain't gonna hold it. That's the
It
sad part about this one.
it is because the NFL playoffs is so far away, but it's like we're putting our eggs in a basket right now. So when people see this later on, they're not gonna say, "Oh, you didn't think they're gonna get there." No. We got it here. Like we got the evidence that we think these teams will be in the playoffs.
You know what's really crazy? What I was gonna tell you, I was like, this was the first draft. I don't know if I want to do one or two revisions, but
You
I
know,
know I'm do it. I know we can do at least one revision. It's definitely got to be after training camp because
yeah,
like
definitely not
two
training camp.
people already done got hurt. So
It's definitely not the
I
training
might
camp.
do training camp in like week 5 because
Okay.
we always say we don't really know who nobody is until after week 4.
Yeah, I think week 5 we could come back, revisit this, look at the list, and be like, all right, some
All right, bet.
adjustments, some are on track, others are definitely out the game. Some got to make a little adjustments, but you want to go
All right,
first?
bet. We'll do two. We'll do two then. We'll do after training camp and we'll do week 5.
Let's go.
All right, bet.
You
All
want to
right,
go
so
first,
I can. Um,
or do you want to do AFC? You go, I go. Then we go to NFC. You go, I go. How you want to do that?
let's start off with the NFC because I got that one pretty much finished and I already got that one smoothed out.
Okay, go ahead and rock with it.
All right, so I did work for the NFC. The AFC is off my head a little bit, and I kind of BS the schedule a little bit, so I got to tweak it a little bit. But for NFC, this was really hard because and I might flip it, but NFC for your 1 or 2 seed, I'm gonna flip it. For the 1 seed, I'm gonna have the Packers. The 2 seed, I'm gonna have the Niners. I just feel like the Pack they got something to prove this year. That I felt like they was right there last year, but they couldn't get over that. Am I expecting 13 and 4? No, no, pipe down. But I could see them winning 11, maybe 12 games, so they take the number 1 spot easily. They might be tied with the 49ers. That's why the number 1 or 2 spot you don't
And be
really know. It might be a
interchangeable.
tiebreaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think they play one another. They do. I have the Packers actually winning that game because it's at home and it's late in the season. I think it's like week 10 or 11.
That cold
So
weather gonna play a part.
yeah, it's a little different. But San Francisco get pretty cool in the evening. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go 1 seed Packers, 2 seed Niners, 3 seed is Philly. I got Philly. It was hard with Philly's record. I mean, with Philly's record because they do have a pretty tough schedule. So there's a smooth chance they could win 11 games. That's what I really got them. They could possibly win 12, but I'm gonna say they're gonna win 11 because they're gonna, like I said, I feel like they're gonna finish real well. At the 4 seed, I got Atlanta. I feel like it's the NFC South. Ain't nobody winning 10 games. I think I have them winning right at 10, or is it 9? I got them winning. They pushing out 10 wins, but that's more likely gonna be like 9-8 or 9-7. No, 9-8. So, but they the 4 seed just because they won a division. We all know how that go. 5 seed. This is gonna be a wonderful playoffs if it happens. 5 seed, you got the Lions. 6 seed, you got the Rams. And at the 7th seed, we got them ugly boys and the gray, white, and blue and the America's team.
Wow.
We got the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay? Why? I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan like that. But why so low? and just because that's wild card. That's wild
Yeah,
card
that's a
play.
wild card,
That's a
and you know
wild card play, and it's not even a good wild card. That's like you still about to play somebody,
they got to play the
like,
Packers again.
bro.
And then, or if they got to play the 1 seed, they got to play the 49.
Okay, so all right,
Ugh.
yeah,
Either
yeah.
either way, if they got to play the 1 or 2 seed, it don't look good for
It
them.
don't look good for them, but you think they won't be able
But but
to
but my
navigate this
reasoning
schedule?
is the schedule. You know, they have a generally like even at home. I still didn't BS them at home. Like where they at? Dallas. Most of their wins. The only teams I got them losing to at home are Rams. I mean not Rams. Lions, Ravens, and possibly the Texans. Like that's why I said they could be 10-7 or they could be 9-8. But it just depends
Mm.
on how they flow. Because honestly, if they don't sign CD, or especially if they pull some Emmett Smith mess where he's not there for 3 to 4 weeks, that's
It's
not
gonna
gonna be
play a
good for their
big part.
offense. It's
It's
gonna
gonna
play
play
a
a big
huge
part.
part of
Yeah,
their
yeah.
offense. And we all have seen what that looks like without a number one receiver. He ain't good. So to be frank, it's the Cowboys. They always have a good regular season, but
Okay.
I ain't gonna piss on them at home because they don't lose at home. You know, I think their biggest matchups is really Ravens Lions. I think the Lions can pull out a dub against them at home. My some of my biggest turn-ups with them were actually kind of three congruent games. You got they at the Steelers, at Atlanta, and at Washington. They don't play extremely well at way, and Steelers got a stupid D line.
Hmm.
Washington has a pretty good D line. And I just think Atlanta could put up points even against the Dallas defense if they just play moderately well. So it's kind of like, and just to be frank, Atlanta has one of the better corners in the league right now. And
Oh,
everyone poo pooed on him and he was at Clemson, but he got to the league, he got right.
you know
So,
what? I'm gonna hit my cousin up and see can he get him on our podcast. My cousin is
for real.
he's they're childhood, they're best friends. As in
Oh,
like
word?
pick like yeah, yeah. The funny part is, bro, my brother had picked him up one time in Atlanta, picked him up, dropped him off. He's like, "Oh, you play football too?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, who you play for?" He's like, he told him, he's like, "Oh, okay, you go to the camps?" He's like, "Yeah." What's your rank? Are you ranked the way? He's like, "I'm number 2 in the country." Number 2 what? Number 2 cornerback recruit in the country. Bro, like in my back seat.
Where you in, bro?
What you mean? Where you going? He's like, I'm going to Clemson. Okay, all right, okay, cool. But I'm gonna see if we can swing something like that to
Yeah.
get on here.
So
But
obviously it's 1 seed. Well, um Packers not playing. So you can stack them out. So you got either way, Dallas is playing the 49ers or the
mhm.
Packers, whoever that 2 seed is. Um Philly versus Rams, Lions versus Atlanta. Obviously, I'm sorry, Philly versus I said that right. I got obviously Dallas is out of there. Um I got Lions winning and I got Philly winning. Probably a close game by them. From that point, I believe it's whoever the low seed is that wins. So the Lions versus the Pack, and then uh 49ers. Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, bloop. I mean, I got one team out, two teams out, got three teams out. So yeah, I got Lions versus the Packs, Philly versus Niners. Um, from there, I got Philly in the Pack,
Okay,
and
okay.
and then this is where it gets hard for me because I would love to see Jordan Love and them in the playoffs. I mean, in the Super Bowl, but I still think they don't get it this early. So I got Philly winning the champ and going back to the Super Bowl because I feel like Jalen has a lot to prove. That defense has a lot to prove. Frankly, the coordinators have a lot to prove. I mean, Vic Fangio's been in the league for almost 30 years, and
Yeah,
everybody know what kind of defense he runs. But he got poo-pooed out of Miami, and then with this last job, I feel like they just BS Fangio a little bit. So, and then Kellen Moore, he was on a rock star status to be the next head coach. He gets
but
to he gets to wherever this place was at the Chargers,
mhm.
and Herbert put up some good numbers, but Herbert also got hurt this year too. Excuse me. So, um, I feel like if he does what he should do, especially with this run game, you have someone who is better than Zeke was when you had him.
Okay.
So by the time you got Zeke, he was half the man he was. You got Saquon, who has some good tread still left on his tires. You have you got one of the best receiving cores in the league, period, to be
Oh, by
honest.
by far, by
You
far.
got Brown, Smith, what's my jet name? I forgot his name already. That's crazy. Either way, you got Dallas Goddard. You got two good tight ends, actually. They solid. O-line, it might not be top 3, but it'll still be top
I mean,
5, 7
you
again.
yeah, you ain't gotta
So
have the greatest O line. You just have to have one
you don't.
that's serviceable.
Especially when you got somebody like Saquon and you got a quarterback like Jalen. And like I said, I feel like Jalen has people want to poo poo on what he did last year. It ain't like he was trash. He had very similar numbers to what he had the Super Bowl year. The only thing
Mhm.
was his interceptions were up. So I don't think they're gonna have him throwing stupid balls like that again.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the offense would be tailored better for what this offense in total and what the personnel allows them to do. So that's why I think Philly, like I said, it's hard because I really kind of want to see the pack, and I don't see Philly being at the Super Bowl. But looking at it and thinking about it, I'm like,
They can
I
be in the
like them
Super
there.
Bowl.
They could be in the
Okay.
Super Bowl if they play like they should and will, especially with my dog, that Gator boy back there, that safety in Gardner, back doing his thing.
He he
The
he is
interceptions.
a good safety nowadays, man. Don't is not typically at the same spot that he was. Well, I mean, spot is in the same franchise that he got drafted at nowadays. Seem like
It
that
don't
guy
matter.
is like
Yeah,
he's such a hot commodity that
yeah.
hey, I'm gonna bring you onto this roster because we have a Super Bowl opportunity.
They shouldn't have
And
let him
this,
go. Honestly, he
oh yeah,
he he,
never.
he was definitely a missing piece from last year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, man. Who you got for your NFC, bro? Who you
All
got?
right, so my number one seed a little bit different. My number one seed is Detroit.
Ew. I
I
can
got
see it, but ew.
I got the Lions. It don't make sense in terms of what they've been
No,
able
it
to
makes
do
it makes a lot of sense.
over
You,
their
you
lifetime as a team, but
oh no,
what
yeah.
they look like today,
Mhm.
as in what they look like. And here's my reason: they have a strong young roster with a lot to prove. When what I mean by a lot to prove, as in like we have a chip on our shoulder because we literally was a half away from going to the Super Bowl, and we let it slip out. So I feel like it's a chip on your shoulder. Um, and I'm hoping it's not a one and done situation. I'm hoping that last year is not just it happened, but we can't get back to it. So, but I think their roster
I
is
don't
really
know.
good. Um,
I
I
think they're
like Jerry.
perennial playoff team.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the coaching staff. I like the quarterback. I think there's something to be said by a quarterback who's been to the Super Bowl, whether he's won it or not. He's been there, and it brings a lot of comfort to the receivers they got because they got a nice running back. They got elite receivers left and right. Their defense is solid, and they play a rugged style of football that I love to see. And so
Hmm.
I got them as my number one. My number two seed is the 49ers. Reason why is because one, they consistently are great at what they do best. Offensively, they do what they need to do. They run the ball pretty well. They got a good wide receiving core, regardless of whatever's going on when it comes down to a guy trying to leave X, Y, and Z. However that plays out, they typically are plug and play.
All right,
It's
pause
like
on that. If Ayuk ain't there, they offense don't run the same.
that if Ayuk's not there, but this is the thing: his offense, Shanahan's offense, is a plug and play. He's been able to
It
he's
is,
he's been able to be interchangeable, and
but
it's not.
what he's doing with 80 targets for a year is
It's
what
crazy.
people do with 100 plus targets.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, but he has been able to adapt to whatever roster he has, whatever receiving core
Yeah.
he has, and it's not like he's going to be. That's not going to hurt him if he was in. That's going to hurt him if he was in the AFC. That's not going to hurt him in the NFC. He's okay. All he has to do that back end of the season, the team just has to gel enough, and he can fall into the number 2 seed. And so yeah, they solid roster, plug and play mentality, and they keep it rolling. My number 3 is Green Bay. So Mo, you're 1 and 2. surprise. If you take Detroit, whatnot, but we were kind of thinking the same thing. Green Bay could be interchangeable. I love Jordan Love and the Packers. What they have is solid. Their receiving core came on really well with Aaron Rodgers, and then doubled down last year at the back end of that season with Aaron Rodgers. They came along
One of them did.
and and then guess what happened? Last year they started to show what all that work was taken
Actually,
into.
the one that came along was hurt.
But the thing is, the receiving core has developed to something really well.
No,
They
it's
got a
great.
nice little run game, and I think Jordan Love is just getting started because for the longest we all were speculating like, is he really good or is he trash? Like, what's going on with him? And then now you see, he like, dog, boy can ball. Okay,
Yeah.
the Packers really do develop quarterbacks. Maybe we need to figure out what they do best, and so they're they're gonna do a solid late push at the end of the season to get that number 3 seed. And
You
again,
know
they can
what's
push
really
for the
crazy
2.
that you say that? I had to make sure because I had to make sure that these fools didn't win 5 or 6 games in a row because they have the Dolphins at the Lions, at Seattle, Saints, at Vikings, and at the Bears. I said, there's no way that these fools can win 6, 7 games in a row.
But the thing is, I don't want them winning 6, 7 games in a
I
row.
don't. I
Yeah,
don't want them.
I
I,
don't
I
want.
got them losing to the Bears. I got them losing at the Lions because obviously they're playing the Lions.
Yeah,
Lions at home ain't trying to lose in Week 12
mm,
heading into the playoffs.
no, no.
They can't do that. So
But
you when you talking about that late push, I was like, hold on, they can't win
they
that many games in a row.
they could do a late push. However, they need to lose a game. The reason why is I always feel like when you lose a game late enough in the season, even if you're a good team going into the playoffs, and let's say your team, like, you didn't sit nobody when you made that loss, you lost with your actual team. You figure
Hmm.
out what's the last little pieces that you need to fix to go into the playoffs. And so if you end up taking that 5, 6, 7 game win streak into the playoffs, you like, I'm invincible, and that's when you end up losing. So I got my Green Bay number 3. My number 4 is the Dallas Cowboys. The reason why I got them at 4, the roster is the roster, what it is. Dallas, they will get to the playoffs. They're not going to have a terrible record, right? If they're not number 1 seed in their division, they're going to end up being number 2 seed to either Philly. And
I would say if they're number 4, they have to be the number 1 seed because you're
oh yeah,
4, they win a
well,
division.
so then this plays well into the 5 though, my 5th spot, because Philly's my 5th. Those two could be interchangeable just because they're the only two I feel like that's going to make that run in that division to even compete to be either the top seed for the division. So great roster. I mean, again, depends on how Philly plays and how Washington plays, how their division plays. I'm not worried about the Giants. I don't know what the heck they got going on. It's Fugazi. Um, but depends on how the Philly turns out and how Washington turns out. Dallas could end up as high as the number 1 seed going into the playoffs just because Philly sometimes is kind of iffy. Washington can be iffy. And that's just my thoughts. They could end up falling into having the best record. Not saying that they're not saying that on paper it shouldn't look like that. But when the
That boy
games are
said the
played,
number 1
they
seed.
end up pushing to have the best record in the regular season,
They
but
do.
they
Yeah.
burned out in the postseason. So I got them at 4. 5 is Philly. If this team is healthy and productive all year long, and the addition of Saquon Barkley, they can win. They can go to the NFC Championship game. They can go to the Super Bowl, and they can actually compete
Yeah.
if they're healthy and if offensively they make the plays they have to make. Don't mess up. Defensively, you gotta lock in. There's no reason why you should be, having these errors, these mental errors here and there. Like you said, they brought back a key safety, and so we should see them at 5 or higher, 5 or higher. But right now, I got them at 5 just because I'm so iffy on that relationship between Jalen Hurts, his head coach. I'm iffy about Jalen Hurts sometimes when it comes
I
down to
mean,
big games. I'm just a little worried.
oh, whoa! In the biggest game in the world, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
He definitely did. He definitely did. But that's the biggest game in the world. And the biggest game in the world is in the national championship game or the conference championship game. He did his thing too. Like, he's been
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to step up. But I'm talking about regular season games. I don't know if he's that invested into it. I know he wants to ball out, but I think sometimes he makes slight errors that can be an
If
issue.
he wants to be, if he want to be playoff Jalen, like playoff Jimmy, I'm fine with that.
But
Just
here's the
fine with
thing.
that.
Here's the thing. When it comes down to it, they need to do enough to make sure they don't fall into playing one of these them being 5 or 4, they play Dallas. You play Dallas. Either you 5 or 4, you play Dallas.
It's Dallas.
That's weak.
The last time we saw Dallas, they got blew out in 3 quarters.
This is what I'm saying. That's a guaranteed. That's a guaranteed round 2.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
I
I don't
got
want you to. I don't want you to do too bad where you end up falling to the 6th seed and you end up playing San Francisco or Green Bay or something like that. Don, you need to be right next to Dallas. Because guess what? When Dallas win or Dallas lose, y'all need to be right there. Y'all best friends. So when that playoff time hit, you got basically a first round bye.
I mean,
And so
I frankly I do have them as at the worst, I have them a game away from one another. So
my 6 is the Atlanta Falcons. Why? Technically, they have the best quarterback in the division in the NFL. You got Kirk Cousins.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's the same.
Unless you like Baker in Tampa Bay, New Orleans, they got their thing, and then I'm not worried about the Panthers. I don't know what they got going on. Atlanta, winnable division with the best quarterback. They'll fall into number 1 seed for the division.
Who your 7 seed?
Oh my God, your 7 seed. Okay, so my 7 seed is still in that same division. My 7 seed is not Washington. My 7 seed is the New Orleans Saints.
Wait,
this is a low shot.
Hold on.
Yeah,
you killing the Niners. I mean, no, you killing the Rams. You killing Seahawks.
Yep.
You killing those 2 much better teams.
Yep.
For the Saints.
Yep. I think the Saints has a decent roster. Here's the thing.
And the Rams don't have a better. Seahawks don't have a better.
They look
Witherspoon and Woolen.
Hey, look, here we go.
Those are 2 top.
I know. I'm glad you came out with the fire. The thing about the Saints is, and this is what makes the Saints kind of a good sleeper to me, is that when you look at the Saints have a decent, talented roster, right? But they've been missing a solid quarterback in a terrible division. I think Atlanta and New Orleans may fight to the end because I think Tampa Bay they have a lot more issues. Yeah, and I think this is what's going to happen. They're going to come down to the end. It's going to be between Atlanta and New Orleans. What can we say? I don't know about. I didn't check their schedule on that one, but
let me look at this Saints schedule because
they were. I know people don't go to look. People gonna bite at me when I say this. I like Spencer Rattler, and from what I've heard is that he's been able to do his thing in practice. I think he's gonna be productive, and so
you think he's gonna be QB1?
I think we got ourselves New Orleans a chance to get the 7th seed. To me, the Rams, I feel like they have an identity issue. They're trying to figure themselves out again. Tampa Bay is my honorable mention. The division's so terrible, bro. It is what it is, and somebody's gonna stumble into it. And I think Tampa Bay has the best chance to stumble into being a 7th seed just because how bad the division is. But at the same time, I don't believe in Baker like that
at all. These NFC teams having these little crazy AFC schedules. Good God, and they be hard. I forgot who I was looking at. Boy, I said, dog, you got to go through this gauntlet. It was at the end of the season too. I said, good God.
Yeah, you look at it. Yeah, they got it's some winnable games here. They could beat Carolina,
of course, but like I said, they got
it's not an easy schedule. It is not an easy schedule, but I feel like they can stumble into that 7th seed.
Give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna see what you're working with because
I got one.
I probably looked at some of these games and
you got automatic L's. You got automatic L's. See, I should have took a chance to look at it. I should have looked at the schedule a little bit before I looked at it.
Cool. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Browns L. Green Bay at the end of the year L. Chargers I don't know, but all right. Chiefs L. Eagles early in the season L. At Dallas L.
They can beat New York. They can beat Washington. They can beat Vegas.
I'll give them that.
And they'll beat Tampa
Let me see. They playing Washington at home. You sure you want to play against Jaden Daniels at home in the dome?
I'm taking a chance. I know. You said at home, it's like a Washington homecoming,
Hey,
but
look, you got Tampa Bay at the end of the year who's fighting for a playoff spot that you just said they had that they won't.
you're right.
That's an L.
So you're gonna put OU quarterback versus OU quarterback. I got Rattlers being the starter.
They got 6 L's already. The Chargers. You think
It's like a rock.
you think Jimmy's finna lose at home? Hell nah. That's 2, 4, 6. That's 8 L's right there.
I look.
You think
Okay.
they're gonna win 9 games at the Panthers? Look here.
I mean,
They're gonna lose. I don't know, my boy. You think a rookie quarterback wants to go against ATL, Dallas defense, Eagles defense, Kansas City front, Green Bay front? People like to sleep on them. That's a solid front.
I threw a wild card out there. And
I'd be happier with Tampa Bay, honestly.
Their Tampa Bay's schedule is a lot easier.
Tampa Bay got a lot easier, got a little bit better team. Oh, I don't know. They just lost David too. Bunting's not there no more. That defense is going to be.
Who's the QB? Who's the QB? And this is going to help out a little bit. And this might adjust my last pick. Who's the QB for Minnesota?
It's going to be Sam Darnold. I don't know how long he's going to be the QB, but it's Sam Darnold. It's not great. I think he'll probably last like 5-6 weeks, 8 at the most. They're not going to the playoffs. I ain't gonna hold you. If they win 8 games,
they got JJ McCarthy.
JJ's not gonna be a pro in his first year. I'm sorry.
Nah. He got a
he might give you a little something, but he's a year 2-3 type player for me. I think he'll pop. I think he'll be like that's an Alex Smith kind of dude.
The Rams schedule ain't easy either.
Yeah, but the Rams
they got Detroit.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Rams Rams have an identity.
They got Detroit.
We saw that last year.
They got Detroit, San Fran, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Seattle gonna be tough.
I got them winning 11 games.
They got an AFC schedule. They got Miami.
That's what it was. Yeah.
They got New England. Well, New England. It's not the same New England.
That's not a team.
Philly.
Got them beating Philly.
Buffalo.
Actually.
They got Buffalo. They got
them losing to Buffalo because it's late in the year.
San Fran. That's gonna be a toss. Who was that? The Jets. You saw the Jets
losing against Frankfurt.
The Jets done changed their unit. They
I actually got them losing to the Jets.
Arizona is a victory.
Yeah.
And Seattle last game
Seattle end of the year because I don't think they're not playing Matthew at that last game.
Let's go to the AFC.
All right.
Let's go to
no. You gotta do your NFC picks.
Okay. Here we go. All right. So San Francisco is going to run through the Saints as my 7th seed or whatever. They're going to run through that. Whoever's the 7th seed, they're going to run through. Right? I have.
You remember your first round, your number 1 pick.
First Detroit. Detroit got to buy. San Francisco is my number 2. Green Bay, they're going to end up running through Atlanta as well. I don't have no problems with that happening. And then I got Philly beating Dallas or whatnot. So we got my.
Do your seedings right? No, you did that right. Never mind.
Yeah. Just making sure we got these right. All right. So I just changed something around. Pull it up on the computer. Have it the right way. Okay. So I had San Francisco beating the 7th seed. Boom. All right, so they'll end up playing. If I don't stay, they'll end up playing Green Bay. Yeah, cool. They'll end up playing Green Bay. San Francisco will play Green Bay in the season.
Rematch.
Yeah, it'll be a rematch.
Who Philly playing?
Philly would end up playing Detroit because Detroit would be the number 1 seed. And so that's 2 good games. Those would be some.
Well, I would love that playoff. I ain't gonna hold you.
Those are 2. Solid. That's some games right there.
I like
in the dome in Detroit
versus 49ers again. I think, especially if that game had better conditions, that would have been a lights out game.
Yeah,
I think that probably would have been one of the better games of the year.
That's going to be tough because, again, like we said, those 2 could be interchangeable. But again, if it's interchangeable, that game's different if it's in Green Bay versus if it's in San Francisco. Because that weather in Green Bay is a little more harsher than the weather in San Francisco. But depending on how the conditions of the weather will depend on the style of play that you're going to have. San Francisco might run the ball a little bit better because they have Christian McCaffrey, or you might see Green Bay do their thing, and they got
They
a
got
good running
Dylan and
game as well
Jacobs, so
too. So
they
this
smooth
is
with
going
it
to be nice.
too.
So honestly,
What you feeling, man?
I got Green Bay moving forward. I got
You got
Green
the
Bay
Lions
moving
moving
forward,
forward, huh?
and I got my Lions moving forward.
All right, who's your Super
So
Bowl pick, man? Who's your pick?
my Super Bowl pick, just because
Ew,
I'm
ew.
a Saint Brown type of guy. I got Detroit going into the Super Bowl to play whoever they got to
Boy,
play.
all
Um,
right.
I like the youth on the team. I think again this time around, if they get if they take a big lead, they're not gonna falter. Um, and yeah, although I like Jordan Love, I definitely do. I just feel like you playing in a dome, and the crowd gonna be crazy this time. I gotta roll with Detroit on this.
I
I
find it
feel like this.
interesting that we both have him there, though. So I feel you. I like it.
So
That's a, I like your playoffs.
but
That's
that
good.
second round gonna be
Hey,
boy, you
look,
better bring your lunch pail.
that championship round's gonna be hell.
Yeah,
That's gonna be some games. Depending on the location, either way,
the,
you're gonna be in the dome with
it
the Lions, so that's gonna be a game regardless.
yeah, but the San Francisco again, depending on location, depends on what style of play you do. Is your offense completely open in San Francisco, or are we running the ball up in Green Bay? Like that right there, God, dog.
Yeah, yeah, I like it.
All
I
right, who
like
you
it.
got?